Okay, this is Tasha, the Crafty Crowd. I have a Brother 1034D Serger, and it makes this god-awful sound. So somebody on YouTube gave me a tip and said that it is probably my drive belt. So I am going to try to find my drive belt, and I'm going to see what's going on with it. So I would assume that it would be here because the plug's here. So of course you always want to make sure you unplug and have your machine off before you start messing with it. You just don't want to have any issues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew this panel. I'm going to take this panel off and see if I can figure it out. So I think the motor is, let's see if I can lift it up. So back here is a handle to lift your machine. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see. But there's a handle right here, a little groove, so you can lift up your machine. Supposedly you're not supposed to lift it up from the bottom because you actually touch the motor. So let's see. If I do it like this. So this little white thing right here has got to be where the motor is. So I'm going to have to take off this panel to get to it. We'll see. Alright, I'm going to take off this panel. I'm just going to unscrew these two screws and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Alright, so you got to take off the handle to take off this little plate here.
Just pull.
Little guy. Okay, let's see if that works.
There's two clips on the bottom that you'll have to unsnap it from. There you go. Be careful, there's a washer and another screw. A screw that...
So the washer goes on top?
Where did that washer come from?
From the top one?
Okay, the washer's on the top.
Okay.
Alright, so now what we have is the belt. The belt, just like in a car, you put a belt on, after a while it can actually loosen. However, from the way the design on this is, if you pick this machine up from the bottom, it will cause this to adjust and loosen this. You can see that's way too much play for a belt. So what we're going to do, you see that big bolt under there, and you notice it's on a slide. That's your tension adjustment. So you're going to go in here, lefty's loosey, turn it to the left. It's going to be a little hard. You may need to get a wrench actually, because it's really tight. Okay, we're going to have to get a wrench, and we'll tell you what size it is. Alright, so we're going to use a wrench. This is a 12mm ratchet. And of course, make sure you're on the loosening. You're going to go in there, and it's going to be a little tough, but there you go. Well, just a couple of things to loosen it up, and you can see now, look, this is your tension adjustment. So what you want to do is pull it back, pull it really tight. You can hold it with your thumb, and then tighten it back up. Give it a nice little tight. Looks like we're still loose. And it may take you a little time to get this thing tight, but this is where the squeaking comes from. Just like when you're in a car and you turn the steering wheel, sometimes that power steering belt, and you can see this has got quite a bit of play. It actually even has an angle, but to keep the angle straight, you've got this plastic thing here, so you really want to keep it in that. But see, this is why when you lift it from the bottom, this will loosen this. So you're probably going to have to push it down and just make sure it's really loose so we can get that nice and tight. It's not going to be the easiest thing to do. You're really going to have to get some pressure in there. Let's see. Get it good and tight. You're going to have to really pull. You may need two people, one to hold the machine and the other. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, give it like another little quarter turn. Okay, and we got a nice tight belt. You can see how it operates. Motor, and then the drive to the actual moving parts of the machine. Now what you want to do is basically get it put back together, or you can test it at this point actually, and maybe we'll do that. We're going to test it just to make sure before we put all the screws back in. And you have a piece of material. This may be a little bit hard to lower the thing, so if you have to, I know, but if you have to put the thing back on just to slide it temporarily, then just do that before you put the thing on. Okay, so now the test.
Go a little bit slower, but it doesn't make a noise.
So we got success, and what we're going to do, and we'll video it when we put the cover back on and screw it back in, just so you can see. We'll go the reverse way we took it apart. And believe it or not, even if you don't lift the machine from the bottom, just from use, especially on a new machine, those belts can stretch out. So this may have to be done another time, or even a time or two. So you see now if this goes back on, there's some latches at the bottom. Make sure it's snapped in.
I need to get the one up here first then.
Put the side back on. You make sure that this is hooked to the little piece of this is on the bottom and this is the top. Make sure that's in there. You see the little white thing in the middle? Okay. You remember the top one has the washer. This has been a problem with virtually 100% of these machines, so hopefully this will help you in stopping this. And plus, if you continue to let it squeak, it's not just a squeak, you're burning your belt up, so you will ruin the belt if you leave it. So this is a way to prevent and extend the life of that belt and then stop that irritating noise. And then what's easy about the lever is it only goes on one way. There's a screw that goes through that piece. Just make sure that that's nice and tight. And of course, while you have the cover off and you're testing, do not touch anything with a wire so you make sure you don't get electrocuted. And there you have the correction and the fix for the squeaking of the Brother Serger model 1034D. If you have a different model and it squeaks, it's basically the same thing. A lot of the machines will have the same exact insides. The outside may be a little different in features. So we know this is a big problem. Brother is zero help when you call, zero help online. So hopefully this will help everybody out. And the Crafty Kraut is back in business.